Hello, this is Kurt Wallner. Today we're going to color in the two West Wing spaces from last chapter, the Brady Press Room in blue and the Cabinet Room in red, and some Rose Garden in green. We have a lot of ground to cover today, so let's get with it. When it comes to inking, I'm torn between two processes. Number one is that I like to ink things that are in the front first and work toward the back. But in the back of this drawing, there is the residence facade, which is the most complicated thing in the whole drawing, and I want to do it first so that in case I screw it up, I can throw it away and start over. So on the press room side, we start out with the podium in the front, all of the little details involved there, and then after that, then we start in with putting in all of the seats, which is a very crazy making process because I try to make them as even as I can, and it's almost humanly impossible. Then we get on to the walls and the floor. By far and away, the most difficult thing to draw in the White House are its columns. Getting the columns just right is very challenging, and this is how I do it. I pencil the thing out first, and then, almost by definition, I have to ink it over again, and as I ink it over again, I can see flaws in what I've done. I can try and correct mistakes of perspective or proportion, and then of course when I ink it I can correct the inking. So I get 3 tries to get it right, and then there's always correcting it on computer later. Thank goodness for that. Inking in the cabinet table and all the chairs is the focus of the cabinet room. The cabinet chairs have all of these devilish little golden rivets all over the place, and they are really hard to put in. But I managed to get them in there somehow. And then there is all of the stuff, the miscellaneous whatnot, papers and glasses and soup tureens or whatever the heck they are, on the cabinet room table. Just lots of fun putting this stuff in. And then there's putting in all the walls. A surprising amount of detail, given that it's such a blank room. Of course, the cornice at the top is a feature of interest. So now with the inking done, it's almost like a big, complicated coloring book, as I've mentioned before. I always start out with the biggest and most complicated color, again, so that if I make a mistake somewhere, I can maybe throw it away and just ink all over again. But anyway, and that means the bricks on the roof of both the press room and the cabinet room. So I spend a lot of time smushing those in, and it comes out really nicely, I think. Ceiling, of course, is mostly just a lot of shading. It's all white, so it's you know, just shade around it and try and give it some relief and depth. The walls are pretty easy. There's like this kind of beige colored tile on the bottom of it, sort of the wainscoting, and then it's all just white above, so it's not really terribly difficult to put in. But the flooring, it's sort of a checkerboard pattern of this indoor-outdoor carpet. They must really want that carpet to last a long time, but it's this very nebby, kind of rubbery thing, and I don't know what. But anyway, it gets in pretty well. Coloring the seating is, of course, the biggest color in the press room, looking down at the backs of the seats. So the flat blue goes in, and then to sort of tone and modulate it and make it kind of look like it's fabric or leather or whatever those seats are made out of, you put a little bit of a darker blue in there. Before I fill in the color of the dais carpet itself, I have to correct a mistake that I made in the electrical outlet on the floor. In the floor, it's in the wrong place, so I have to fix that. The colonnade outside of these rooms is made of this multicolored stonework, and I did a first swing at it in the White House overview, and I kept the recipes for how I created the colors and stuff, and now I'm utilizing those on a larger basis. The photos that I have to work from to indicate where all of these colors go and what the modeling is very, very, very iffy. So I have to make it up a lot, which I don't really like to do. Now it's time to color in all of the chairs. So many chairs, and it's mindless fun. Good old mindless fun. A lot of shading involved and trying to get a semblance of the leather going, and it's interesting. And then we fill in the carpet. The carpet is this deep, rich red color with the stars in it. And once we put in the carpet, then we have to project some kind of idea of the shadows that are cast on the chairs, which are coming from the overhead lamps. And when I look at the photos of the cabinet room with the overhead lights on, I have come pretty close to what the shadows really are when those lights are on, so I'm very happy about that. Then we do the carpet border, which are olive branch kind of colors with some blue edging here and there. It's very exacting work. Then we tint the back side of the busts that are in the alcoves. Very, very touch and go. They really ought to be darker because at the back of these niches there's no light, but because the wall is missing and various other things, I've decided to keep them kind of light. Then we color in this painting of George Washington by Charles Wilson Peale. It was done just before the Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776. It's kind of an odd look at our nation's founding father, but I get it done. And then I've saved the best for last, doing the tabletop. Earlier on, I had done a projection of what the reflection in the table is, but the table is sort of like this leatherette cover, so it's not really a mirror finish, but it's kind of a semi-gloss kind of thing. So it's important for me to know what is reflected in the table, and it's part of my calculations going into this. So with both of the rooms colored in now, I feel pretty good about this. Now all I have to do is fill in the part of the rose garden that shows. I'm going to do a fade from the bottom to the top, and it should be, it's technically tricky, but I'm going to end up doing it anyway. And now moving on to the rose garden, we begin by drawing the buds in the magnolia trees. And this is a long, drawn-out process. But part of what I wanted to do was to fade the garden from so that the colors are stronger closer to the building, and then have them fade as they go up. And the way that this is done is by creating zones of color saturation. Create the zones of saturation by drawing in on the pencil these red lines that indicate where the zones, they get lighter as they go up. So each zone is lighter than the one before it. There's quite a large number of these green hedges close to the building, and they're really easy to do because they don't fade. They're in the high saturation zone, so I don't have to worry about making them lighter. Okay, so the press room and the cabinet room drawing is finally done after a while, and it's come out really nicely. So it's time for us to select the next drawing for me to do, and for that I have my best friend from the day job, Derek Reed, who is here to help me select the next drawing.
Hello, everybody.
Conning Derek to come down here was not easy because he doesn't have much to say. He says that he's camera shy. Do you believe it? Maybe. So anyway, we have all of our subjects for the next drawings, the drawings that I'm planning on doing in this series, in the mixing bowl. Now it's Derek's turn to pick one out.
Let's see here.
Oh, the White House kitchen.
The kitchen.
Oh boy, that's going to be murder. Anyway, it's very good to have you down here, and it's good to be here. Good to see you. We'll be working again, on Tuesday or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, if you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe to the channel if you would. Until next time, thank you for your attention. Bye-bye.